Okay, so here's part 2 of Selah Bet, the second Selah of the Psalm 119 study, which is between Noon and Samek. So the idea that if you were able to look at each moed and say somehow Yahuwah has embedded his Shem in that. Yeah, but how did he do that? Well, if Het, Tet, and Yod line up with the big white fence, and I know, and Andrew Hoy has the blue, purple, red fence. It's just the concept of the white linen fence with the blue, purple, red gold thread embroidery, like the name of Yahuwah on this fence. If that lines up with Pesach, if that's his name, there's something great about his name. Yahweh talked about that Jerusalem was going to be known in the future as the throne of Yahuwah. It's like, I don't think it's called that now. There's another verse that says that it'll be known as Yahuwah Zedkenu, or Yahweh our righteousness. Nobody calls it that. They might call it Hashem or Adonai, or the Lord. It's like, these things haven't happened yet. Therefore, I don't think this can be the end of the world. But anyway, the point is something about Pesach. Jeremiah 10:16, he says, Israel is his heritage. Well, Yahweh is our heritage. There's this mutual, not like anybody else. Jeremiah 13:11 is with the championship belt. Ani ledodi vedodi li, ani Eloheka ata ami. I am your Elohim, you are my people. You see, that's an exclusive relationship, and it doesn't change. It can't change. Anybody who then comes up with an alternative theory, like all those people are no longer his people, he has a new people group. See, that's contradiction. Different words, different idea, different doctrine, different religion, different God, because Yahweh the Vote will not and cannot read his account. He's not going to change his identity. He's tied to Israel. Oh, well, we're the new spiritual Israel. Oh, yeah? You think so? One new man, not Jew nor Greek, not slave nor free, not male nor female. One new man. Prototype Yahusha. Oh, we're Gentiles. That was for the Jews. You can't say that if it's Yahweh's a vote. You can't say we're Gentiles, that's for the Jews. We got a new covenant. We're the bride of Christ. You can't say those words. That's not Yahweh's a vote. And I'm saying that because I know these are grating, rasping, great, coarse, horrible noise on the ears. And I'm saying that for a reason, because we're going to look at Daniel 9 before we're done here, and you'll see why I'm saying those words. Jeremiah 11:4. Listen to my voice. Fulfill according to all I command you. Matzah? Jeremiah 7:23. Go the entire way I command you. Jeremiah 11:7. Listen to my voice. Jeremiah 11:11 and 14. You don't listen? I can't listen. Jeremiah 15:6. You, Israel, abandon me. I shall destroy you. Jeremiah 16:11. They forsook my Torah and did not observe. Is that clear enough what matzah is about? Shavuot. Now he says there's 77s, a vow of vows. Interesting, that other phrase, 7 sevens, Shavoim, Shavim, shows up in Daniel 9. That's why we're going to look at Daniel 9. It says, this day I've begotten you, Psalms 2:7. It shows up in Luke 3:22. Justin Martyr talked about it in 150 AD, and it was found, that thing where he said at the baptism of Yahushua, this day I've begotten you, is in the Greek Codex D. Justin Martyr talked about it in dialogue with Trypho, just in case anybody wants to know. It's talked about Mark 1:9-11 and Hebrews 5:5. Count. The word count is not only mem nun, it's shin mem nun, like Shemini. It's also samek peresh, as in Sefer. So Sefer is not just connected dots, it's to count. It's a pregnancy, like the only begotten son. I'm suggesting that somehow if Yeshua is the only begotten son, like begetting is like being birthed out of one's own self, not adopted, not legally, but one's own DNA. And if Mem Noon has something to do with like this pregnant womb, and Shavuot is that festival, then somehow perhaps we can at least look at it metaphorically, or somehow that Yeshua's birthed out of Shavuot, Mem Noon. He's the one who's gestating. If he's coming out, what? Hey, we're looking at it like this is a gemstone, and who is this gem of Yahuwah? Fathered by ALEF-TAV, birthed from the womb of Adamah, Aleph Dalet Mem Hey, the land, the earth, the female Adam, Betula Maria. Shavuot, Numbers 15, 38 to 41. We were told to wear tzitzi so that we will remember everything he said, so that we'll do it, so that he will listen to us. Has to do with that relationship. Numbers 10, 9 to 10. Remember at the voice of the trumpet. Communication and that bonding of voices between Israel and Yahweh, it's not automatic. It's only if we do what he said, going back to matzah. So it's like, what is this saying? It's describing the character, nature, and the way our Elohim, Yahweh Zavot, the Elohim of Israel, the way he relates to us, his people. That's what these are about. Ayin, Jeremiah 3:13, you must recognize your sin. Just forgive me for everything. No, you need to recognize what you did and repent from that. Numbers 14:9, forgive. Numbers 17:10, a man's way is returned, the fruit of his deeds, the ayin, the eyeball, the everything you do is going to come back. You better remember what you did, so you better stop doing it if you don't want it to come back, because it's going to come back multiplied. That's the way he works. And if you want forgiveness, it's okay. There's still stuff that's you planted that's coming back. You better learn how to deal with it. Pay, like the altar of incense. Numbers 18:15. My people have forgotten me. They burn incense to the nothings. Oh, but we're praying in his name. We're offering incense in his name. We're doing all these wonderful things in it. I don't know you. If we don't know him, all of our efforts and intentions and our heartfelt, oh, I love him so much. You love who? Yahweh Zavot, or somebody else that you imagined and made up with characteristics that are not him, that he knows nothing about, but, oh, your wonderful Lord and Savior is the one you imagine to be. Yes, these are terrible words, but I'm saying the way he operates is that if you invent your own God, it ain't no God. It's a nothing. And Yahweh Zavot's the only one. And Israel's the only people. And the Torah is the only place that describes him. Everything else is, let's just call it borscht. Okay? Beet soup. Pig dung. Mishkan, Mem Shin Kaf Nun. Could be Samek Kaf Nun, but Mishkan, Mem Shin Kaf Nun. Mem is a prefix that plays Samek, or Shin is the prefix belonging to Kaf Nun is yes. This is the place of yes. The truth, the reality, the acceptable. Shemini Atzeret, lining up with the Zadi. Shemini, it's the word that means 8. It's the word that means oil. And Shemin means think, ponder, assess. Malachi 3:16, discuss, obsess over the Shem of Yahuwah. That's what he wants us to do. He wants us to belabor these matters. Jeremiah 3:17, that's where it talks about Jerusalem being the throne of Yahuwah, all nations gathered in the name of Yahuwah. And if they haven't gathered in the name of Yahuwah, then that hasn't happened yet. How can this be the end of the world? And I say that because I know people who are expecting the imminent rapture, the imminent return, the imminent tribulation, and yet a bunch of stuff hasn't happened. Let's look at Daniel 9:23. Bet Tav Chet Lamed Tav. I'm going to have to go pretty quick. There's a lot here, and you have to really listen to this. So Tav Chet Lamed means beginning, initiate, primer, commence. At the beginning. Why didn't it say Berashon? Tav Het Lamed. Het Lamed, Het Lamed. That's like halal, which can mean like challah bread, where something is pleasant and sweet, but it also means rusty and sick. Well, it's both. Tav Het Nun Vav Nun Yod Kaf. Well, Tav Het Nun is the word prayer. It's also a request for favor. Het Nun, Nun is that word Hananit for daisy, graceful, charming, coquettish. Yod Zadi Aleph, go out, bloom, export, release. See if you, I'm spelling these words so that you can, I know I'm talking fast, but Yod Zadi Aleph. Zadi is the principal letter. Yod, he will. Aleph is that just like the ox head starting to move. But Zadi is, so you look at that word and it's like, it's all about the picture of that one word. And it's drawing the paleo, the line, the like a flag flying, the flourish, the wing, the blossom, the explosion, the go out, publish, export. Debar, ve'ani be'ati lahagid. So here's this angel meets up with Daniel, says that as soon as you began your prayer, I'm cute little Daniel, and I'm asking for some favor here. I'm your little daisy. That's kind of Tav Het Nun Vav Nun Yod Kaf. The Yod there after the Nun, I'm the one doing this, and Kaf is you. And then the angel says, the word was given, dispatched, and I am the one who has arrived, Bet ALEF-TAV Yod, with ALEF-TAV, with my ALEF-TAV. La Hagid. Hagid is the word for to tell the story, give the account. So the angel said, I was handed something to go give to you, Daniel, and this is what it is. Ki chamod ata kaf yod. So thus, because chamod, well, that's the word precious things, desirable articles, desire, loveliness, grace, charm, delight, darling, loved, longed for, and coveted. So it's translated, oh, Daniel, you're greatly loved. It's like, no, wait a minute. ALEF-TAV, hey, you, Vabin, Bet Yod Nun means understand. Bedebar, on the condition of this word, Vav, hey, Bet Nun. Well, Bet Nun is the word son. It means, it's where the root of the word to build, Bet Nun, hey, like construct. Understanding, Bet Yod Nun, Bet Vav Nun. Worthy of. And then the last word of this sentence, Bet Mem Resh Aleph Hey. Well, Resh Aleph Hey means to see, perceive, regard, exhibited. Memresh, the thing which is perceived, well, that's a vision, a view. You're going to be shown something. It's like a mirror. So here this angel says, because you're greatly loved, and it's like, no, wait a minute. Het mem hey, the het mem vav dalet. Let's look back. That vav tav is plural, so that means you're loved many times or many ways. See, I don't think it's translated right. Het mem vav dalet. Well, het mem is the word for warm, see, protect, but it's also fury, and ham is something hot, whether it's a passion of good or bad. Mem dalet, that's like mem dalet, dalet, mode, made, stretched to fit, fashion, index, meter. Daniel, you've been given to understand because you have this mind that will get it. You were given the mind, you chose to have the mind. You are the kind of guy that will do the understanding. We're going to show you this, and we know that we can trust you. What? We? Who's we? The angel was told to give this to Daniel. Why are you here? Why are you listening to this? Why are you listening to this stuff? You have the aptitude, you have the interest, you have the desire. Are you greatly loved? Or are you greatly loved because you have a great love for, I want to know who Yahweh is. I want to know what he's about. I want to know how his kingdom works. I want to not be lied to about Mashiach. I want to know exactly who he is and what he's here for and how I have to relate to him because I don't want to offend him. I don't want to offend Yahuwah. I don't want to offend his Ruach, nor his angels, messengers. And it's like, hey, I'm just trying to do the right job here. Because you have an understanding of what loveliness and charm is. See, chamod is a synonym with chanon, or Just please be favorable to me. Remember, this is reciprocal. You see, Daniel 9 is going to tell us something about Yahuwah here. There's something about in these last 4 verses of Daniel 9 that are describing who is Yahuwah. And remember, it's a reciprocal relationship. The way we are towards him is the way he's going to relate to us. Verse 24, 77s have been appointed for your people and for your city, the Kadosh city, and the destruction. No, then he gives a list of 7 things we'll get to in a minute. So this is the way it starts off. Shavim, Shavim. No, wait a minute. Shin Bet Ayin is word 7. So the way the language works is that anything and all its derivatives, which is why I was talking about the derivative spellings of the word NOON-SAMEK earlier, just to set the stage for this. If it's Shin Bet Ayin, Shin Bet Yod Ayin, Shin Bet Vav Ayin, Shin Bet Hey, Shin Bet Ayin Yod Mem, all this stuff, it's not just the number 7 to multiply it with Yod Mem is the number 70. That's what the dictionary says. But it has to do with the fact that Shin Bet Ayin means to swear a vow. And the vow has to be fulfilled, surfeited, fulfilled, filled to the full, satisfied, all still the word Shin Bet Ayin. And if you don't, if you break the vow, Shin Bet Ayin, you get cursed, Shin Bet Ayin, accordingly 7 times. So in Leviticus 26, Yahweh says, if you guys find my words, my commands to be loathsome, abhorrent, detestable, annoying, whatever, worthless, then 7 times like your vow. And then he describes how all hell is going to be unleashed on his people. And remember, we're talking about the wisdom of Solomon. Did he know anything other than this? Did David know anything other than this? What does this mean to know ALEF-TAV? If Yeshua is going to say, I'm going to come down here in your capacity and die your death that you deserve and resurrect to pull you in my capacity so you get what I deserve, the true of that, it all fits this whole overall story of the ALEF-TAV. That's what we're talking about. But see, the Shin might be a prefix. That means that which belongs to Bet Ayin or Bet Ayin Yod. We'll get to that. Noon Bet Ayin. See, if I can replace the Shin with a noon, because the noon is an action of doing Bet Ayin, it means uttered, expressed, hey, spoken, caused to flow, pronounced, bubble or ferment. Bet Ayin is to bubble. So something that's otherwise hidden bubbles up, ferments, and comes to the surface as a bubble. What you look for and seek and question, it comes up and is made evident. See, what vow? Oh yeah, that great vow where Israel said, everything Yahweh said, we will hear and we will do. That great vow was never undone. And when Yahweh said there is a Brit that guides, controls, governs the entire planet from beginning to end, that Brit is still in force. We were told that Brit's done away with. The old covenant, nail the crowd, doesn't happen anymore. Well, that ain't true. And if it is still around and still does operate, then that's the thing that needs to be discovered. That's the thing buried that bubbled to the surface that we need to find out about, because that Brit is what was uttered, expressed by Yahweh's voice that doesn't change. So the Nun Chet Tav Kaf, the third word in verse 24, Nun Chet is where you get the word Noah or Noch, that which comfort and rest, but it's like an airplane coming in for a landing. It means inferior or feeling inferior or go down flat, your descent. It also, Het Tav Kaf, Nun being the prefix letter, means cut, decided, pronounced, or articulated. In other words, Leviticus 26, because if we don't do what Yahweh said, the verdict is we lose the prestige and get pushed down by our oppressors and nature and end up having a rotten life. For how long? That's the verdict. For your people, Ayin Lamed hyphen with Ayin Mem Kaf. Then there's this line that means something. I'm not sure what. Nicholas will have to talk to him about that. But this is, and concerning Ayin Lamed Yoke to your city, Ayin Yod Resh, city, town, urbanized, angel watcher, provincial, to lay bare, deeply rooted, and it has to do with a wild donkey and has to do with naked, to lay bare. And it's like, Ayin Yod Resh, your kadosh. So your sacred city, your special, to lay something bare has been buried and fermented. It's like rotting. Your descent, Israel, you're either going to be exalted, like when David handed the kingdom to Solomon and it was like wealth and wisdom like never before and never since, or because you profane the Torah instructions and the identity of Yahweh Shem, and so we don't even know him, we don't even recognize him, we wouldn't recognize him if somebody even described him to us. We descend into rot. And then he says it's going to accomplish 7 things. And so we're going to line up each one of these 7 things in Daniel 9 with the Mishkan pattern. The first one is lekalaha pasha. Kaf lamed aleph means confinement, imprisonment, hybrid, crossbred, withhold, restrain, as if not. So if we hybridize Yahuwah's identity, it's not him. If we blend him with pagan festivals of Christmas, Easter, Halloween, Sunday, no, it's not him. He gave us Leviticus 23, Shabbat, and the 7 Moedim. You hybridize Yahweh, you get confinement and imprisonment. Hey, Peshinayan. Peshinayan means rebel, transgress, criminal act, and it's just one step. Well, it's only a little bit of, no, it's what he said or not. Well, it's just, no. One step is Peshinayan. Peshin, pishpash means examine, search, investigation, or bedbug. It's like, look for one little thing is going to change it all. We only took one bite out of the fruit. That's it. You rebelled. That's the concept. That lines up with the big white fence, confined because of criminal rebellion. We hybridized Yahweh. He's no longer pure and clean who he is. He's not Yahweh's Avot, the Elohim of Israel. There we got a new covenant. There we got a new savior. Yeah, I saw a billboard this morning, a sign, Jesus, one and only name given unto men from under heaven, from in heaven, by which they should be saved. What about Yahweh, the savior of Israel? Who's this Jesus? Different name. No, it's not then the one and only name. What about Yahuwah? That name was given for Israel. Well, it's the same guy. More borscht. The second thing he says here, Ve-lamed, Vav-lamed, He-Tav Mem, Het-Tet ALEF-TAV. Well, He-Lamed Tav Mem, or He-Tav Mem, Lamed, He-Tav. Lamed He means to her, Tav Mem is perfect. He-Tav means there, T-H-E-R-E. Het-Tet Aleph is the word sin, error, to miss the mark, but it also means to find favor, disinfect, cleanse, and purify from sin. So the second thing, he said 77s or 7 sevens have been apportioned for your people. That's the way it's translated. The first one was to confine rebellion. What's that got to do with the big white fence? Yahweh is Elohim. You want to be his people? Quit your rebellion. Do what he said. Find out who he is by returning to the Torah, because the second thing, which was her perfection, is there. The same word for sin means also to find favor, disinfect, cleanse from purity. Het-Tet Aleph, Het-Tet Yod. He gave us a command. Sin is not doing the command or changing the command. What does it mean to be perfect? Do what he said. See, I can equate, this is part of the Mishkan pattern, I can equate these 7 statements here in Leviticus, or Daniel 9:24 with the Moedim of Leviticus 23. And they line up perfectly. I have to think about how they line up. One other thing to mention that I have written on these notes, the picture of the Smilodon, the wildcat Ephraim with the parted hair down the middle. I did that on purpose in that image because Pei-Samic, see, Samic and Sheen sometimes share the same types of words, same sound, S sound. It's like Tet and Tav, just like sometimes Kaf and Kuf. But Pei-Samic means parted hair, mosaic, crumbs, and to sign. Pei-Samic means to end, cease, disappear, or torn in strips. That's like Joseph's coat of many colors, and the kingdom was ripped into strips and separated. Hey, SAMEK, hey, check, stripe, spread, abundance, like a mosaic, or like the lost tribes. Hey, SAMEK, lamed, a sculptor, to disqualify, declare unfit, canceled, annulled, idle, carved image, chiseling, worthless chips, rust, or dust, rubble, debris. Any sculpture of a deity is of any sculpture of anything is a Pei SAMEK lamed, and the worthless dust and chips from what you're sculpting is what's Pei SAMEK lamed. So the sculptor himself is a Pei SAMEK lamed, or Pei SAMEK lamed noon, or mem Pei SAMEK lamed. Worthless. Don't even try to make a sculpture. Well, what about all these saints and angels? I'm not going to carve one. The third one, lamed Kaf Pei Resh Ayin Vav Nun. Well, La Kapur Aun. Kippur, ransom, deny. Kaf Pei Resh. Cover, forgive, atone for, make void, expiate, sacrifice, wipe away. It's also the word for village, rural, or rustic. And why would the word Kippur, as in Kippurim, wait a minute, I thought that was supposed to be the lining up with the ayin, which is in the position number 5, and here it is in number 3. Why the confusion? Number 3 is Shavuot, but why is it the word Kippur? It's a secret code. Ayin Vav Nun is the word that means iniquity, guilt, punishment, distortion, bent, or twisted. Put a mem in front of it, and it's mem ayin vav nun means residence or seasonal occupation. Ayin nun hey, without the vav, means respond, humble, or attention. How do you put that all together? To make void iniquity, to take the punishment. A village is under the government of a bigger city. It doesn't have its own government per se. One who is ransomed or something that's denied is that burden which is imposed is paid for. How does that line up with mem nun? Forgiveness, covered, wiped away guilt. The guilt of doing something distorted, bent, twisted. Why is that the laver? Yahuwah is the guy that's going to wash away our guilt. Yeah, but on Day of Atonement or the Passover lamb or the red heifer sacrifice, it's the identity of Yahweh, the maker of heaven and earth, whose kingdom this is, who gives us instructions and says, look, I'll wipe away your guilt. I wash you clean. What a concept. The next one, lamed hey bet yod aleph, zadi dalet kuf, ayin lamed mem yod mem, ve la havia zadik almim. Bet yod aleph of lamed hey bet yod aleph is the arrival. Hey bet is give. Lamed hey bet means flame, kindle, set ablaze, or enthusiasm. Lamed hey bet aleph means future, and lamed hey bet is also the blade of a sword. So symbolically, if you see a statue or a picture of a guy holding a sword, you go, oh, that guy's got a sword. He must be a warrior. Somebody's going to be in big trouble if they mess with him. But the word itself in Hebrew means enthusiasm, excited, fired up. The word zadik, righteousness, well, it's also victory, deliverance, and salvation. And ayin lamed mem, pluralized, yod mem, it's not olam. Olam meaning forever is ayin vav lamed mem. This is ayin lamed mem. You look it up, it means strong, eternity, hidden, concealed, forgetfulness, mature vigor, full development. So you say, the arrival of enthusiasm, of victory, justice, virtue, that which has been hidden, is brought to full development in its strength, like the adult insect coming out of the larva stage. A sword coming out of Yeshua's mouth, is that the end of the world? Or is that him saying, here is the kingdom in its prime. This is the golden age. This is what everything's been looking for this moment. Revelation 19. So this lines up with the picture of the menorah. So when you see the picture of the menorah, enthusiasm, victory, justice, righteousness, the lost hidden is in place, valid and viable. Nothing was ever gone. It was just hidden, like Yahuwah's favor, like the terms of Yahweh's covenant with his people. You guys, get out of here. Jeremiah 3 and 4. Divorced, shalak, sent away, banished, cast across the face of the earth. Jezreel, lo ruhama, lo ami, you're not my people, I have no mercy, I'm going to cast you across the face of the earth. But then he turns it all around. The book of Hosea, bring you back in the place where he said, you're not my people, you are my people. I will not have mercy, I am having mercy. And get out of here, come back. Has that happened yet? The same people. It's not the bride of Christ instead of Israel, it's Israel. But what does Israel have to do? Come back to his words. Remember, we're talking about, like I said in the very beginning, if Solomon understood anything, this is what he understood. David understood it. This is the ALEF-TAV. Yeshua understood this. Moshe talked about this. This is talked about in all the books, all the prophets. If that thing in the crypt going down into Solomon's grave was, it's all a lie, everything's been a lie. What's been a lie? Everything that contradicts this story. That's what. The next one. Ve vav lamed chet tav mem chet zayin vav nun. Well, chet tav mem is the seal, closed, stopped up, or induced to subscribe. Somebody comes to your house, hey, you want to buy a periodical, a magazine? Hot Rod magazine for the next 10 years. I don't need that thing for the next 10 years. Well, just sign here and says you don't want it. Okay, here. Aha, you signed up for it. You're going to get this thing coming every week for the next 10 years. You can't stop it. It's like, oh, come on. Well, see, when our forefathers, Israel, said everything Yahweh said, we will hear and we will do, and Yahweh said, if only it would be like this. Oh, it's only like this. That's the vow. Everything Yahweh said, we will hear and we will do. That's the vow of the covenant. And so as long as Israel does not hear and do the words of the covenant, we're under the curse for any reason. And if we're tricked into thinking, hey, Jesus died on the cross, so you don't have to keep the terms of the covenant. Well, he did die on the cross. He did resurrect. He did offer us eternal life. He did become our righteousness. He did grant us to be considered righteous, but he never took away the obligation for us to do what Yahweh said. That's the problem. So everybody who's told, hey, the law is nailed to the cross, so we don't have to do anything he said. Woohoo! Party time, we can eat whatever we want, do whatever we want. We don't have to do anything he said. You see, that's not true. In my estimation, that's absolutely not true, which makes it a lie, which means that all came from the devil, the adversary, the liar, the father of lies, which means it's not Yahuwah to have that God be your Jesus, which means now you're believing in an Elohim Akrim, and he's going to say, I never knew you. Because he never said, don't do what the covenant said to do. What he did say was, I offer you forgiveness, but then you got to come back and find out what he said to do and do it. That's the problem. So this one that says, stopped up or we were induced to subscribe, then the word chazon means vision, prophecy, or predicted. Vision, property, or prophecy. Vision, well, that's an eyeball. So if this lines up with the letter ayin, which lines up with the Mishkan pattern, the table of showbread, it's like we signed up for a subscription for a duration exactly as predicted and warned. What? Leviticus 26. If you find my ways detestable, I'm going to multiply it by 7. That's the prediction. I have written on here, FAFO. Fool around and find out. What's he going to do? He loves us. We're his people. 2,730-year curse. The next phrase is Nun-Bet Yod Aleph. It's translated and prophecy. So it's part of the phrase, and stop up vision and prophecy. Well, if the vision is the eyeball, the prophecy, that which you speak, is the mouth. So there's ayin and pei right there. There's the table of showbread and the altar of incense. So what's the prophecy arriving? He said, we were warned of a reality that there's no opt-out. We were signed up for a curse or the blessing, actually both. And the curse lasting nearly 3,000 years is for a reason, for a season, to accomplish the purpose of eliminating the reason. The reason is our rebellion of listening to his voice and doing what he said. It all goes back to that. What did he say? What does it mean? Now, what are we supposed to do? The last one, it says, and Vav, Lamed Mem Shin Chet, Mashach, well, that's like the word Mashiach, Kadosh Kodashim. Well, they say it means anoint the Holy of Holies. Okay, the 77s have been apportioned to your people to anoint the Holy of Holies. What does that mean? Anoint the Holy of Holies. Well, see, somebody has to say, well, there has to be a third temple and they're going to dump some oil on it. And it's like, see, people have to come up with some kind of explanation. Look at the word. Mem Shin Het means, where you get the word Messiah, but it also communication, conversation, the consecrated portion, measured, the string by which everything else is measured. If you look at Mem Shin Het Tav, it means disfigured, spoiled, corrupted. What's disfigured, spoiled, corrupted? The Kadosh, the part anointed, separated, classified, and measured, Mem Dalet, has been disfigured, spoiled, and corrupted. Yeah, like for almost 3,000 years now. You see who Yahuwah is and what he told his people to do, because Israel is the Mashiach of the earth. Israel is the specified, anointed, like David, taken from all of his brothers, like Israel taken from all the nations. Israel's job, like David's job, being the shepherd, the singer, the king, the warrior, I am ALEF-TAV. When we take on that same mentality and says, we're his people, we're supposed to be his championship belt. We are supposed to be showing the world who he is. And he's retained in the Moedim. The glory of his name is in keeping Shabbat. Whether it goes by the lunar phase or the number of the day on the week, that's another argument, but it's Shabbat, the seventh day, not the first day. For Kadosh to become Kodashim means actually recognized at value. Ezekiel 36:23. Israel, wherever you went, you were kicked out of the land. Get out of here. I don't know you. I'm not going to listen to you. But wherever you went, you desecrated my name. Told the wrong story. Misrepresented who I am. Ezekiel 36. I will make my great name Kadosh. I will make my Shem Hagadol Kadosh when my Shem Hakadosh is my Shem Hakadosh, my sacred name is made Kadosh in the eyes of the nations through you, with you, in you. I take that to mean that when we start telling his Shem Kadosh truly, properly, as it is, instead of the fake Elohim Akrim, then he will step into that capacity as the reality. If we take little tiny shoes and we polish them up and set them there and say, he's going to step into these and walk around, no, he's not. Oh, okay, we're going to make big clown shoes. No, he's not. No, you put my real shoes there, and then I'll step into them and go walking around. Who is he, really? It's our job to be the herald of Yahuwah's grandeur, identity, his gadolness, his majesty, in the eyes, in the understanding of the nations of the earth. Israel's job is to make that known, evident, proclaimed with knowledge. The word communication, disfigured, destroyed, corrupted, becomes as it ought to be. So here, there's those 7 things that this is in the chat. So then this brings us up to Daniel 9:25. This is a very interesting thing. I'm going to try to go through this here. Ve'tada ve'ta shakal min matzah dabar. Tav Dalet Ayin, know, make known. Tav Shin Kaf Lamed, prudent, wisely, intelligently, consider, think with insight, cunning craft, lay crosswise. In other words, now this angel is given the list of the 7 things. Now he's saying to Daniel, having become known, now knowing this, do the prudent, wise, intelligent thing, min matzah, beyond finding out. Once you find out and you know this, you've taken your bearings. How do you act with intelligence? Well, see, if this is where we are now, then this is us now. The 2730-year curse ended in 2010. We're outside of that. We're Memnoon of the, there was that word that meant cut, decided, noon, chet, tav. There was another one that was a verdict. The verdict was 7 times, 390. Well, that's over as of 2010. But that verdict had to be accomplished because Yahweh said so. So once you realize we're men matzah, now think, what do we do? Where are we at? Who are we? What's going on right now? And don't expect to get it off the internet. Don't expect to get it from any other source who's not looking at his words. What's the debar? What's the matter? What this is all about? It's all about Israel listening to Yahweh's Torah, his debar, his word from the heart. Lamed Hey Shin Yod Bet. Well, Shin Yod Bet means it's the root of teshuvah. It's the root of Shabbat, which means return, rebel, come back around another year. It means Hey Shin Bet Tov Hey HaShabbat. That means lockout and removal. You don't listen to me and you go stupid, you get kicked out. You get taken into captivity. But when you start listening, you get brought back. It's all the word Shabbat. Deuteronomy 30, when all these things have come upon you, the blessing and the curse, then you will Shabbat, then you will return. So any root of Shin Bet, whether it has Hey, Yod Mem, Ta, any root of Shin Bet has to do with, well, Mem Shin Bet means blast or blowing. Noon Shin Bet means drive away by blowing. In other words, get out of here and go into captivity, but then come on back by the Ruach, the wind of his Ruach, pulling us back into that relationship. Lamed, Vav Lamed Bet Noon, Vav Tav. Tav is plural, so Laban, like Jacob's uncle. It's a word that means to cleanse, launder, to put something in the laundry, become white. It's also to make bricks, but it also means lines in a verse. Clarified, like putting something into the laundry. Clearing, making it clear. Make clear the lines of a verse by which things are built like bricks. Then the word Jerusalem. Yod Resh Vav Shin Lamed Mem. Lamed Mem suffix means for them. He will. Yod prefix Resh Vav Shin comes from the root of Yod Resh Shin, which means possess, take inheritance, and dispossess the squatters. Yahweh said, I'm going to kick you out and let the wild animals and the wild goyim take all your stuff. And when you come back, in the first Exodus, you guys came back and he was going to clear out the Canaanites. Whether he clears them out first and brings his people back, or whether he brings his people back and they clear them out, either way, the squatters get dispossessed because it's Israel's inheritance from Yahweh, bequeathed from him as their sacred, special relationship. The earth, the claims to the earth has nothing to do with anything. Hey, we lived here first. We were there. It's like, that's got nothing to do with anything. The earth is the, King James, the earth is the Lord's, the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein, because he has founded it upon the floods, established it upon the sea. It all belongs to Yahweh, and he can give it to whoever he wants. And he decided to give it to Israel. Oh, except for the bride of Christ, the Christian church. It's like, that's not what he said. He said he's going to give it to Israel. Oh, we're the spiritual Israel. He said he's going to give it to Israel. And he said the terms of the relationship are this. Israel was given the truth. Israel betrayed him and got kicked out and ejected, Jeremiah 4, cast into the diaspora, the dispersion. And then after the duration of time, Israel gets to return to the Torah, return to wanting Yahweh's words written on their heart. They come back to the covenant, and he gives them so that it was better than it was at the beginning, better than in the days of Moshe or Abraham or David at his peak. That's the great mystery. People can't handle it. Everything else is a lie. Is that what that was mentioned in Solomon's tomb? What this angel is saying in verse 25 is, once this is known and you think about it, after all this, the blowing away, the dispersion, coming back to the inheritance, Ayin Dalet Mashiach, when Messiah, Noon Gimel Yod Dalet, Nagid, well, that's the chief leader, high, conspicuous, made known, announced, Shavayim Shava Veshavayim Shashim Veshanim Tashuv. When Messiah Prince 77 and 7s, 60 and 20, it's like, Ayin Dalet is until when? Mashiach, remember, that's the thread used for measuring. Well, Mashiach then, well, that's Jesus. No, wait a minute. The word Mashiach means the thread used for measuring. That's the code, that's the key, that's the fractal pattern, that's the Mishkan pattern of the ALEF-BEIT, the empirical standard, the royal gauge. Nagid, chief, leader, ruler, that's the prince, but it also means high, conspicuous, make known, or announced. Shava is the word for vow. It's also 7s, but it's the vow. So the gauge of the code, Mishkan pattern, of the covenant with Israel, according to the Moedim that we just went through, when that becomes made known, Shin Bet Ayin Hey, well, that's 7. Shin is that which belongs to Bet Ayin Hey, which means ask and seek questions, bubble up, express, pronounce. Noon Bet Ayin, pray, require, crave, uncover, with Vav, Shin Bet Ayin Yod Mem, 7s, 70. Shin is that which belongs to Bet Ayin Yod Mem, which means with strength and gusto. When it's time for this stuff to finally become uncovered, because we've endured the full decree of the verdict of get out of here for 2,730 years, then come back to swell with desire with the gusto. Shishim, well, that's plural of Shin, which is 6. That makes it 60, but Shin is also rejoicing, joy, exultation. There's no better news anywhere. Vav Shin Nun Yod Mem. Shin Nun Yod is the number 2. Shanim is then 20, the plural of 2. But it's also the color red. It means to change, difference, variance, transform, hatred. Shin Nun is teeth, so it's the damage done by teeth. Yahweh's hatred of his people because they betrayed him. So he let them be ripped to shreds by the wild animals. When we come back to his words and the whole thing is turned around, is Shanim. Teshuv, Tav Shin Vav Bet, return, repent, revolution, reply. It's the answers to the questions. There's the word Tav Shin Vav Bet, Vav Noon. This is Tav Shin Vav Bet. Add the Vav Noon, and it's a book like an encyclopedia. Here's all the answers to all the questions. When you look at world history, when you look at the covenant Yahweh made with Israel, it's exactly all the answers to all the questions of all the mysteries, which is confounded. Why does it look like there's a big, mean, ugly monster God of the Old Testament, different from the New Testament baby Jesus, who loves us dearly, the Lamb? Why is there a difference? Because Yahweh's Israel refuses to appreciate what he gave them. And now that we're here and can and will and want to appreciate what he gave his people, well, that changes everything. That's shanim, kashuv. The next word, vav nun bet nun tav hey. Well, bet nun tav is to build, it's understanding. Nun is putting it into action. Bet nun is the word for son. As a son would do. Behold, this is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. I only do what I see my father doing. I only say what I hear him saying. Learn the language and do what he says. Walk the walk and talk the talk. That's that word. Vav nun bet nun tav hey. And then resh chet vav bet. Rahab the harlot. That's rachav. That's that word. Did she just have a big spread? It means breadth, width, transversal, broad open place, wide open, extent, enlarged. She had a big, like a Motel 6, a big inn, or maybe she had a big king-size beds, or maybe she really was a harlot. Maybe she was a large woman. What? I'm just associating the word Rahab with Rehob, with Isaac saying, there's room for us here. Let's call it Rehoboth. It's all the same word. And it has to do with us coming back to the Torah and saying, they're trying to squeeze us out. A guy just sent me an email the other day that says, Islam is the eighth kingdom on the tower of, and they're going to kill all the Christians and Jews. Like there's no room in Yahweh's provision? Really? Vav chet resh vav zadi. That's another word besides zayin hey bet. It's a word that means gold. It also means diligent and industrious, which is a synonym with the word for almond, shin kuf dalet, shachad, where Yahweh says to, I think it was Jeremiah, he says, what do you see? He says, I see an almond. He says, even so, I am industrious and diligent, zealous about my stuff. Zealous about what stuff? Zealous about the fact that he said, when you guys betray me, you get betrayed. When you don't listen to my voice, I can't hear your prayers. Your enemies come in. Nature rebels against you. The Garden of Eden turns into a desert. But when you, Israel, return to my Yahuwah Zavot's words, everything changes. It's like the catalyst is just to listen to what did Yahweh say. And world history must follow. Talk about frequency, resonance. All Israel has to do is say, whatever Yahweh says, we will hear and we'll do. Yahweh Elhi, Yahweh is my Elohim. Hudu la'iwaki tov, ki leolam chazdo. And those ripples go out and radically changes the entire universe, because every distortion, like the Chladni, like the cymatic plates, every distortion, every sickness, every ailment is a maladaptation to the pure Yehi-Or. And that's the way it's built, which we haven't been told about. Pointed, decided, determined. Charotz. Well, that's like the word teeth in shanim. Transform hatred. His face gets transformed when we don't like what he said. We go back to what he said, and it gets transformed back to the beauty. The last two words, vav pei, zadi, vav kuf, press upon, pour out, grating. There's the rasping sound on the ears, the constraint, the distress, the affliction. To swell up with nasty pressure. And the last word here, verse 25, hey, ayin tav yod mem. Well, it says the times, because ayin tav is time, but ayin tav yod means timely or ready. The future, ready, prepared. Ayin dalet yod, ayin tav yod dalet, like the tav yod mem hey, the theme, that which is placed. It's like, okay, when everything's ready. Remember when the first Exodus happened and they escaped? It says it was the day to when he told Abraham 430 years. That day, the Exodus happened. You see, we may look, it's like, why is it taking so long? We got this going. It looks like he's not. Has he ever come? Everything's timed exactly. And all that has to happen is Israel respond in due course, at due time. It's not our fault. He had it hidden. That's right. It was hidden until 2010. Look at Daniel, 2 verses left here, 26 and 27. How are we for time, Carla?
You still, yeah, well, we have about the 5 minutes now.
5 minutes? Okay.
Take your time.
Casually zoom. This is what the angel says, the last two verses. After the 70, 60, and 2, cut off Mashiach without his, and the city and the Kadosh. Then there's this word Yod Shin Het. See, Mem Shin Het, the word Mashiach. So Yod Shin Het means emptiness. Shin Het Yod Tav means distress, oppression, corruption, immorality, demoralized. Shin Het, meditation, talk, swimming, bending. So it means, so here's the thing is, so in this verse 26, he says, well, okay, so there's after the 70, 60, and 2, or after the weeks, the 62 weeks. Let's just look at it that way. That's one way it's typically translated. Messiah is going to be cut off, or the string for measuring, the standard gauge for measuring all this is going to be cut off, exterminated, but not of his own account. And the city and the Kadosh, Jerusalem and anything sacred, is going to be corrupted, distressed, pushed down into emptiness. And the people demoralized. Nagid havo vekutzo. Okay, the prince or to lead the argument in opposition arrives, and kufsadi, it's over, cut off. Bet shin tet pei, in the condition of a shin tet pei, flood, torrent, addicted, sweep away, speed, fluency, just it's all gone. Boom! There's like the Roman army came in and just took everything apart in 60 AD. That's a picture of that event. Until Kufsadi. Wait a minute. Cut off Kufsadi until Kufsadi. Well, Daniel 12:4 says, hide the word and seal the book until the time of the end, which is simply Kufsadi. It's like, end of what? You look at put another prefix, Yod Kufsadi means wake up. Okay, so in the end of what doesn't mean the end of the world. It means the end of the being asleep. The end of this, and it changes that. The end of the hatred becomes favor. The end of favor becomes hatred. It's one thing becomes something radically different. That's Kufzadi. But he says, until that end, you get Malakma, which is war, Nun Het Resh Zadi, which is cut, incision, destruction, verdict, and decision. There's that other word I was looking for earlier. It means, listen, there's a verdict that went out because of Israel's attitude against Yahweh's Torah, against his words, that there's going to be then this word shamamot. Shin mem mem means appalling, desolation, horrified, ruin, crazy, insane, and demented. None of it makes any sense. It's just this sheer madness of destruction and ruin and horror in bad times. Until the Kufzadi, this is the verdict. It's like Israel, hello, listen. You do what Yahweh says, you get the Garden of Eden, you get to be the top of everything being wonderful and good, and all the blessings that come to you will go to everybody else. So like what I've said before, it's like Israel's supposed to be driving the bus, and Israel's drunk behind the wheel, self-induced coma, and nobody else on the bus. It's like all these animals that have no way to grab the steering wheel and put their feet on the pedal. Nobody else can drive the bus except Israel, until Israel wakes up and gets at the driver's seat and does what it's supposed to do, which it couldn't until the drug wore off, until 2010. It's this picture, and what is then happening is like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, Shamam and Charatz. It's just a destruction, appalling horrors, because Israel wouldn't be Israel. It's like, well, get somebody else, would you? So the most horrible abomination of a movie, Fiddler on the Roof, where Tovia says, I know we're the chosen people, but could you choose somebody else for a while? Sure, yeah, I'll choose the Christian church. They'll be the bride of Christ. It's like, so they're going to do the job? No, they haven't done the job. They said there is no law. Woohoo! Nobody drives the bus. Free fall, just off the cliff. Yeah, they'll always choose us. We'll be your Israel. We're going to do exactly what you said. Everything you said, we will hear and we will do. Oh, yeah? Well, yeah, they're putting you to the test then. NOON-SAMEK. what are you going to do when he puts you to the test? You going to fall apart? You going to shake your fist in his face and spit in his direction? And go, yeah, take that, you little. Oh, really? Are you going to do what he said? See, if this whole thing on planet Earth is, who are you? Who do you want to be? You want to be as Israel? No, I'll be a bride of Christ. I'll just be, one of the gatekeepers. You want to be Israel? He's going to put you to the test, NOON-SAMEK. You're going to be put to the test, the things you want, the things you found to like, the things you love might be taken away. Hey, look at Job. Oh, gosh, really? Really? Verse 27. Now, I talked about this up in Calgary in 2017, I think it was, 2016, 17. I'll address it again here. It's on the internet, on the eriktology.net. Now, I'm going to analyze this a little bit. This is the last verse we're going to talk about, Daniel 9:27. Ve'hagabir berit la ravim. Now, think about that for a minute. The word Gabor is man. It's also champion, hero, knight, valiant, the big tough guy. Like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the Arabic way of saying Gabir, which is to say tyrant, ruler, dominating. So is that an adjective? The mighty, heroic champion? It's supposed to be Israel, but then it says Brit. Well, so if I say White House, in English, I put the adjective before the noun, White House, but in Spanish, they say Casablanca, house, white, the opposite. So somebody could say Gabir is not an adjective. It means the champion man, Brit. What's Brit? It's a covenant. Well, he must seal the covenant because the word covenant must not be there on his own. Then it says La Ravim. Well, Ravim means many, but it also means important. The great man seals a covenant with many? Or what if it's not about a great man? What if it's the Gabir is the adjective of the Brit? There's one Brit that matters in the universe. The Brit that says, Abraham, your kids need to do what I say, or else nothing I promised you is going to happen. Remember, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Abraham's going to teach his children, and they're going to then do what he said so that, Mem Noon, everything Yahweh said will happen as he said. Not that it can't happen, not that Yahweh's incapable, but because if we, Israel, Abraham's seed, doesn't walk in the ways of Yahweh, doing what he said, then what he said ain't going to happen. That's the Mem Noon that we talked about last week, that Yahweh says it, but it's conditional, and we do what he says, and then it happens. That's the way the entire universe is built. That's the great secret. So the Brit of the Gabir, where is heroic, mighty champion? It's that great covenant between Yahuwah and Israel, where Israel gets to be the Gabir, La Ravim, multiplied in importance and in number, in quality and in quantity. Shavua, 7 years, 7 days, it's an oath, it's a curse. They must satisfy the vow. Achad vechatzi chashavua. Shavua, like bookend. Shavua, achad vechatzi shavua. Shavua. You got to satisfy the vow. What the vow? Achad vechatzi. Well, achad is one, it's unified, and chatzi is arrow. It means to bisect, cut in half, but it's also like lines on the freeway to partition something. So it's also the whole book, achad, or whether you take page by page or line by line, word by word or letter by letter, chatzi or achad. The achad is the same as every chatzi. You remember he said, you guys don't seem to understand. I'll talk to you line by line, precept by precept. That's chatzi by chatzi. It's all achad. Well, Yeshua is all the same, except, no. Achad is achad. So the concept of shavua, achad, vechatzi, hashavua, it's like you obey the vow, line by line, letter by letter, the whole thing, it's the one and all, it just is what it is. Line, or dot, line, dot. See, it's written in this concept of a code. Then Hey, or Yod, Shin, Yod, Bet, Tav. Shin, Bet, Yod, Tav is return, is captivity. Satisfy the vow, and the captivity gets returned. Satisfy the vow, the enemy gets defeated. Jericho's walls fall, except for where Rahab had her place. That didn't fall because she was favorable to Yahuwah's what he was doing. So the word Shin Bet Yod Tav, though it means return in captivity, remember it's a derivative of Shin Bet Tav, Shabbat. That's because of mishpat. So if you understand the mishpat of Yahweh, a man's way to return on his own head, a man's way is Shabbat, is Shin Beted, returned. That's the secret of the universe. Yahweh's throne sits on Mishpat and Zadokah. Victory, deliverance, based on a man's way being returned. Israel behaves, listening to Yahweh, they get the victory. That's where it is. Then it says, there's that one of those lines there in the text. Then it says, Zavach ve'menacha. Zion bet chet means sacrifice, slaughter, a sacrificial offering, or just eat a meal where you barbecue something you had to kill. Then the word them, vav, mem nun chet hey. Well, mem nun chet menach is something, an offering that you give. So it's translated as sacrificial offering. Nun chet, like the word Noah, is that which comes down, descending like an airplane coming in. It's like you bring an offering, you set it down, you bring in food and you set it on the table. You get your 10% from your tithe and you give it as an offering. It's the master of ceremonies, tells you this is how the evening progression of the events go. It to coin words. This is what everything means. It's to put something in position, to guide, to direct. Here's how it's all supposed to be. It's the Torah. What did Yahweh say? He already told us. Well, what he really, it was funny. There's a little clip from the Life of Brian, Monty Python, and there's it opens up. Yeshua's over there talking, Sermon on the Mount, and these people are standing back here and arguing and making noise and everything, and they can't quite hear what he's saying. He's talking, and somebody said, what did he say? He said, blessed are the cheesemakers. And the other guy said, the cheesemakers? Why the cheesemakers? And the other guy says, well, it's not necessarily cheesemakers. It's the manufacturer of any dairy product. And it's like, what? And you think, it's just some stupid Monty Python. It's like, no, that's exactly what's happened. He said something we can't hear. It was mistranslated or misrepresented. And somebody else, well, what he really meant was, it's not just the cheesemakers that are blessed. It's the manufacturer of any dairy product gets blessed. Oh, okay. And then it becomes doctrine. Monty Python. Those guys had some, they're pretty smart about some things. What did he say? What is the offering? What is the Zavach? Menacha? Do what he said. That's the offering. Do what he said. It's like Black's Law Dictionary. When you go to court, there's a whole nother language. Sounds like English. It's a whole nother language with different definitions of words. Black's Law Dictionary or Bouvier's Law Dictionary will tell you the meanings, and then they get to choose whether they want to use that meaning that day or not. But the point is, that's the meaning of words. To understand Yahweh's meaning of words, it's in the Mishkan pattern of every letter of the alphabet, locked in by Yeshua's gospel narrative journey, all of which summarizes as ALEF-TAV. That's Zavach Menacha. And then you get down to Ve'al and with, or you could say otherwise, that might mean Peinun. You could say this is the alternative to us simply offering what he said to do. You get Kanaf Shakutzim Meshamam. Well, Shamam again means appalling devastation and horrified ruin. Shakutz, well, that's abomination, idols, detestable, unclean, Gentile, defiled reptilian, and kanaf is wings. So on the wings of abomination of desolation, it's like on the wing, a winged reptile of abomination. It sounds like a flying dragon to me. So these three words are saying, listen, you either do what I said or you get the flying dragon. Until they add kala. Well, the word kala, kaf lamed hey, means bride. It means all, totally, completely, finished, destruction, all of it ceased to exist. And then it says, Ve na vav noon chet resh zadi hey. That's the word destruction, decision, verdict, resolute decisiveness. So is it saying until the bride decides to just simply do what Yahweh said? Well, the bride of Christ is told she doesn't have to do what Yahweh said. If there really is a bride of Christ, if there really is a woman, Betula of Elohim, of Yahuwah, of Yahusha, she'll be doing everything that he said to do, just like Yeshua is doing everything his father's doing, because that's the characteristic. Anything contrary is just not. It's Elohim Akrim. And he's going to say, I never knew you. And she can't get her prayers answered because she doesn't know him. See how serious this is? So what has to cease? What has to cease is the doctrine that it's ceased. The doctrine that says Yahweh doesn't have any more law. We have a new covenant. That has to stop. Oh, Yahweh's people are lost and forgotten and they're replaced by a new people. No, that has to stop. Yahweh's people were kicked out for a certain period of time because they wouldn't listen to him. And once they fulfilled the banishment, the verdict of you will be annihilated by all your enemies and by the flying dragon, then we get to come back and do what Yahweh said, and he gets rid of the dragon. It all depends on where we choose to stand, Tav Tav Kaf, Ayin Lamed hyphen with Shin Mem Mem. The determination of the Shin Mem Mem, the appalling desolation, horrified ruin, crazy insane, all depends on where we want to stand. Do we want to stand as Israel under his covering of his Torah? Or do we want to stand on our own? We don't need no stinking Torah. So here, I'm just going to read these two as I have them, the last two verses here. Reiterated. After the 62 sevens, which is basically when 2,000 years ago, when Mashiach was around, when Yahusha lived, exterminate Mashiach, eliminate the measuring gauge, and are left with nothing. See, he was there to say, let me show you the way it all is. Kill him. Let's distort what he said so nobody has any bearing on the truth anymore. The city and the sacred is corrupted, leading to demoralization. The leading argument, Ben, it's done away with. Until that argument is done away with, there's nothing but war and horrific desolation. Verse 27. The mighty Brit of all Brits must be satisfied as a totality and piece by piece. Must be satisfied, and then captivity can be returned. Offer the sacrifice of do what the Brit says, or else winged dragon destroys everything, all of it. Do it, then get it. Kind of like FAFO. Fool around and find out. Or do what he said and get blessed. Betray what he said and get cursed. It's the same thing. Decisive verdict of terms. Where you stand determines how insane the ruin is conducted. And that's the end of the chapter where the angel was talking to Daniel and saying, I've been sent to give you this message. So if that's the message, and Daniel was about 400 years or so after Solomon, and if Solomon had any wisdom, see, it's got to be the same message. And if, like the guy talking about Solomon's grave was saying, oh, the people can't handle the truth. It's too esoteric. It's too otherworldly. It's like, really? What did Yahweh say? Let's just do what he said. It's that simple. And Yeshua said, if I be lifted up, why? I will draw all men unto me. He's the Word made flesh. If he be lifted up and said, hey, there's something about Yeshua's story. Look, everything he did fits the letters of the alphabet. So NOON-SAMEK, SAMEK is the engineered structure, the trellis, the cross, the apparatus, the scaffold. Noon is the life, the vitality, the meaning, the restoration, the spark of life, of consciousness, the meaning of the letters, the noon of the SAMEK. we win if we do what Yahweh says. So any voice that can tell us, don't do what Yahweh says, for any good reason, let them imagine better reasons they've already given us. No. It's like the voice of the serpent in the garden. What did he say? Let's just do what he said. That's as profound as it gets. And what did he say? Truth and kindness. Doing that is righteousness. Doing that, you'll be doing right, ruling justice in our terms with each other. And then how do we relate to him? His name, his day, his moedim, and the way we treat each other. I can't see it getting any more complicated than that. That's everything. And that's right there in these 7 moedim. Anyway, so that's the end of it for today here. So we should quit before it gets too much longer. So Yahweh, look at, we're your people. We want to be your people. We want to hear your words and do what you said. Everything you said, we want to hear and we want to do. Please help us in our humanity of grumbling and complaining and moaning and groaning and somehow just our intrinsic rebellion. Please forgive us. Thank you for your forgiveness. Please heal us. Please strengthen us. Get rid of our enemies. The monsters, the bugs, the flying dragons, the bacteria, all the threats of the invisible energy weapons used against us. Restore your favor to us. Hey, we're your people. You are our adornment and we're your adornment. So it make us look good and we'll make you look good. Thank you. So be it. Amen. And that's everything Yeshua said. So in Yahush's name, he agrees and we agree with him. Thank you. Todah Yahweh.